Welcome to Healthy Start. Today, we're diving into a topic that could change the way you approach your health. The top 10 foods that fight cancer and help starve it. To understand which foods are best for this, we first need to know what fuels cancer. By starving it, we can take control of our wellness. So, let's break it down. The primary driver of cancer is glucose. There's a fascinating concept called the Warburg effect, which we'll explore in detail soon. Other factors include chronic inflammation, carcinogenic compounds, and chemicals that cause cell mutations, turning healthy cells into cancerous ones. Oxidative stress also creates an environment where cancer thrives. A weak immune system makes it harder to fight off cancer effectively. Normally, our bodies deal with a certain number of rogue cells, but a strong immune system cleans them up. If it's compromised, cancer gains the upper hand. Hormonal imbalances can drive cancer growth, and gut health plays a massive role too. An imbalanced gut microbiome affects nearly every one of these factors. To make this clear, let's assign each factor a mental image. Picture glucose as a sugar cube, inflammation as a flame, carcinogens as toxic clouds, oxidative stress as a lightning bolt, a weak immune system as a broken shield, hormonal imbalances as a seesaw, and poor gut health as a tangled web. The key takeaway is that many people approach cancer-fighting foods with a pill mentality. They hope for a superfood to swoop in and destroy all the bad stuff. But it doesn't work that way. First, we must stop feeding cancer by avoiding the things that give it strength. Then, we can focus on foods that empower our bodies, boost immunity, and counteract these harmful factors. Let's start with the Warburg effect. This phenomenon shows that cancer cells love glucose. They're different from normal cells, even though they originate from our own bodies. In their altered state, they prefer a specific fuel. Cells, whether healthy or cancerous, make energy in two ways: glycolysis and oxidative phosphorylation, or OXPHOS for short. Glycolysis doesn't need oxygen, while OXPHOS does. There are two main fuel types: glucose and fat. Glucose can feed both pathways, but fat can only be used in OXPHOS, which requires oxygen. Healthy cells typically rely on OXPHOS because oxygen is usually available. When oxygen is scarce, they can use glycolysis, but it's less common. Cancer cells, however, are rebellious. They favor glycolysis, even when oxygen is present. It's their preferred way to generate energy. Why does this matter? OXPHOS is more efficient, producing more energy. Glycolysis is faster, which cancer cells love because they're rogue and aim to grow rapidly. If we flood our system with glucose by keeping blood sugar high, we're handing cancer cells their favorite fuel, enabling fast growth. The more aggressive and malignant the cancer, the more it craves sugar. This is why medical imaging often uses glucose to detect cancer. They feed the body sugar and watch where it lights up on scans, as the most aggressive cells absorb the most glucose and grow the fastest. Knowing this, the food choices become clear. To starve cancer, we need low-carb foods or, for some, a ketogenic diet. Examples include avocados, leafy greens, non-starchy vegetables, extra virgin olive oil, butter, and coconut oil. These healthy fats don't spike blood sugar. Other great options are meats, fish, and chicken, ideally from natural sources like grass-fed beef, wild-caught fish, or pasture-raised poultry. Nuts, seeds, and mushrooms are also low-carb, high-fiber, and have minimal impact on blood glucose. These aren't the only foods that work. The key is understanding what they have in common. They're real, whole foods. Any similar foods will have the same benefits. These foods target the Warburg effect by limiting sugar, but they also help with other factors. Real foods reduce chronic inflammation, avoid carcinogenic chemicals, lower oxidative stress, support the immune system, balance hormones, and promote gut health. Unlike isolated vitamins or medications that target one issue, whole foods create a holistic benefit, addressing multiple factors at once. Inflammation is a major driver of cancer, so we want foods that reduce it or are neutral. Low-carb foods are key here because high-carb diets lead to insulin resistance, which fuels inflammation. Foods like garlic, turmeric, and ginger have natural anti-inflammatory properties. Berries, rich in anthocyanins, are another great choice. Fatty fish, high in omega-3s, help the body regulate inflammation, not by suppressing it like a drug but by supporting balanced responses. Broccoli contains sulforaphane, dark chocolate has flavonoids, and extra virgin olive oil offers oleocanthal. These are just examples. Many real foods have similar compounds and benefits, helping not just with inflammation but across all cancer-driving factors. Next, let's talk about carcinogens and chemicals. The liver is our body's detox powerhouse, but it gets overwhelmed by things like sugar and alcohol. Cutting those out is step one. Then, we can support the liver with specific foods. Low-carb, low-sugar diets prevent fatty liver, which burdens detox pathways. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower contain glucosinolates. Tomatoes have lycopene, which aids liver detoxification. Garlic and other allium family foods provide sulfur compounds that support the liver. Eggs are rich in choline, a nutrient critical for liver function. The pattern here is clear. Whole, real foods are the way to go. They don't just help detox, they support the body in multiple ways. Immune health is another crucial piece. Garlic and ginger are well-known immune boosters, acting like natural antibiotics by killing off harmful bacteria. They also modulate the immune system, helping it function properly and boosting white blood cell production. Mushrooms contain beta-glucans, which stimulate immune function. Bell peppers are packed with vitamin C, often more than citrus fruits, but with far less sugar. People sometimes chug orange juice for vitamin C, but that sugar can counteract the benefits. Whole, real foods contain these immune-supporting compounds and help across other areas too. Hormones also play a role in cancer. Two hormones stand out: insulin and estrogen. High insulin levels, often from insulin resistance, can deregulate estrogen, particularly in breast cancer but also other types. The first step is managing insulin with a low-carb or moderate-carb diet, especially if you're insulin resistant. Broccoli contains indole-3-carbinol, which helps balance estrogen. Healthy fats are vital for both inflammation and hormone regulation. Fatty fish, extra virgin olive oil, and avocados provide omega-3s and monounsaturated fats, which are neutral to inflammation and support bodily functions. Again, many real foods offer similar benefits. Oxidative stress is another factor. Some foods are rich in natural antioxidants, which we need to neutralize free radicals produced during energy creation. But more isn't always better. Mega doses of synthetic antioxidants can interfere with energy production and even shorten lifespan, as long-term studies show. Natural antioxidants are the way to go. Berries, dark chocolate, green tea, turmeric, tomatoes, and pomegranates are excellent sources. Virtually every plant food contains some antioxidants, so a varied diet of real foods helps balance oxidative stress while supporting other cancer-fighting mechanisms. Gut health ties everything together. Your immune system, inflammation, allergies, autoimmune responses, and hormone signaling all depend on a healthy gut. Poor gut health leads to disease. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, and kefir provide probiotics, good bacteria that can colonize the gut or outcompete harmful bacteria. Prebiotics which feed these good bacteria include asparagus, onions, garlic, leeks, leafy greens, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and kale. These foods contain fiber, inulin, and polyphenols that promote a diverse, healthy gut microbiome. Beyond these examples, many real foods support gut health. Don't limit yourself, focus on variety. While what you eat matters, what you don't eat is even more critical. Let's compare how processed foods stack up against these 7 cancer-driving factors. Processed foods are often high in sugar and white flour, which spike blood sugar and feed cancer cells, violating the Warburg effect principle. Long-term, these foods drive insulin resistance and chronic inflammation, striking out our second factor. They also create oxidative stress, hitting a third factor. Plus, processed foods are loaded with chemicals, artificial sweeteners, flavorings, colors, pesticides, stabilizers, and preservatives. Some are potentially carcinogenic, and many cause inflammation and oxidative stress, affecting multiple factors at once. Processed foods also compromise the immune system, adding another strike. For hormones, their high sugar content drives insulin resistance, which deregulates estrogen. Many chemicals in these foods act as endocrine disruptors, mimicking hormones and confusing the body's receptors, leading to imbalances. Finally, processed foods wreak havoc on gut health. They cause dysbiosis, pathogenic overgrowth, and microbiome imbalances, which worsen all other factors. In short, processed foods are a disaster for health. Aim for 90% of your diet to be real, whole foods. When we add chemicals and repackage food, it stops functioning as food. Take a look at a typical processed food ingredient list. You've seen these products everywhere, long lists of unpronounceable chemicals. The scariest part? We're told to judge these foods based on nutrition facts, like calories or grams of fat. But those labels don't tell the story. They ignore the chemicals and mechanisms driving cancer. Learn to recognize real food and make it the cornerstone of your diet. In summary, fighting cancer with food starts with avoiding what fuels it: sugar, processed foods, and chemicals. Then, embrace low-carb, nutrient-dense foods like avocados, leafy greens, fatty fish, berries, and cruciferous vegetables. These foods don't just starve cancer, they reduce inflammation, support detoxification, boost immunity, balance hormones, lower oxidative stress, and promote gut health. If you found this video helpful, please save it, share it with friends and family, and spread the word about the power of real food. Subscribe to Healthy Start, hit the bell, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a life-saving video. Let's make health a priority together. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.